Hey everyone, welcome to A Mess Nonetheless. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Melissa, and we are sisters. Sisters.
Sisters. End of season 3.
Da, da, da. Official finale.
Do you not literally just feel like I was like, hey, do you want to do this podcast with me like 2 minutes ago?
Yeah, in some ways, and then also it feels like a decade ago.
Oh,
you know what that is?
A whole decade? That's like 7 years.
Well, let's be honest. The last 2 years have been a little crazy for me. So they all feel longer than normal.
A decade
is not 7 years. Shut up.
Is it not?
Okay, so we need to put this to rest for once and all.
It's not going to rest, baby.
Everyone listening, I really, truly want you to weigh in on this. So I always feel like when you are like 27, you're almost 30. Like you're getting you're closer to 30 than you are 20. You're almost
You're
30.
closer to 25 than you are 30.
I'm not talking about the 5s, I'm talking about the 10s.
I don't know.
20, 30. And Rachel and her husband think it's the funniest thing ever.
Melissa turned 47 this year. On the day of her 47th birthday, she has been talking the entire year leading up to it that she's almost 50. At 46, almost 50, almost 50, almost 50. On her birthday, she's said something about being almost 50. And my son Michael goes, it's so weird. Missy keeps saying she's almost 50. She's only 49. And I go, she's 47. She just turned 47 today. He's like, wait, she was 46 yesterday? It's like,
I just feel like I'm heading
almost 50. I totally get what you're saying, but it's every time she hits a 7, it's like when she's been married 7 years, like we've been married almost a decade. And Joey was like, no, you haven't. And she's like, yeah.
Going on a decade. That's what it feels like.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, when she said a decade, I was like, do you mean 7 years? All right. So we are just wrapping up for the summer. I think we did this. Well, I know we did this last year. I think we might have done it the year before too, where we just recapped what we've done. Like what episodes have we done? Which this year, we only did them every other week. So we have far less to do, which is great. I mean, let's see. We did 1, 2, 3,
I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
8, 9, 10, 11,
like,
12.
good news. We're going to talk less.
Oh, that's weird. I thought we've done more than that. Maybe I didn't write them all down. That's weird.
How many do you think we did?
Well, I just counted 15, but I'm pretty sure that we have published 16, 17, 18. So, maybe I counted wrong. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
maybe
9, 10,
you think
11,
18
12,
and 15
13,
are
14,
the same number.
15. This is very weird. Okay. Well, I don't know what to do about this.
Can we still do our podcast?
Yeah, we can still do it. No one's like sitting and looking at a list. I just don't know how I made the mistake.
I don't. You just seem like you didn't know how to go on.
I was a little stunted. I'll give you that.
And you said, I don't know what to do now.
That's true. I did say
I
that.
just thinking we were done.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we did start with Welcome Back. Like we did a Welcome Back podcast, which of course we're not going to talk about. Also, there was a time when I went from episode 9 to 11.
Oh.
So I just skipped one.
Your pattern numbers too.
I guess. And so that would make sense for the missing 2, I guess. And then today would be the 18th. This one would be the 18th one. So.
Oh, I'm so glad we figured that out.
One. Oh my gosh, I should just edit all this out. Oh, is it your driver's license picture again? Oh my gosh. Okay. So we started off the season after we said, hello, welcome back, all that. We started off with talking with our mom. She was on it with how Jesus loves and views women. And do you remember that? It was such a good episode. And we really walked through like all the different examples we have.
Really surrounded himself with women and utilized them. I mean, they're in a time when we were thought of as nothing, like property, basically. So I mean, he broke the mold with the way he loved women.
He really did. And it's interesting because in Genesis, when Eve took the fruit and they sinned and God says, these are the consequences, he said like women are going to have pain in childbearing. And he said, Adam, the man is going to have to work the field. And he said, and women, you're going to be like subordinate to your husbands. And it makes me wonder if when Jesus came, he did not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. So everything was in fulfillment after he came. And it makes me wonder, I mean, obviously we still have childbirth pain and stuff like that, but it makes me wonder if Jesus was like, that's undone now. Like the new covenant is here and that's undone. I don't know, just because the way he treated women was in no way like they were less than or subordinate.
I, without any biblical proof of this, wonder more if men just took that and ran with it and were like, you're nothing. And Jesus came and said, that's not ever what I meant.
Well, I absolutely believe that that's true. Yes, that humans, we ruin everything.
So right off the bat, God gives us earth and we ruin it.
Oh my gosh. Thank goodness we have Jesus. So we talked about that. I thought that was really great. The next one we did was how to be loving when it comes to hot topics.
Ooh.
Hot topics. We did not discuss hot topics.
No.
And we did discuss the fact that you and I don't always land on the same side of the page for a hot topic, and that we can still have loving, respectful, Christ-like relationships with people when we disagree. Oh my gosh. So many people think like this is the one thing where it's like, if you believe this, then we can't be in a relationship. And it comes from both sides. Like politically, it comes from both sides. And I'm like, yeah, but Jesus never said that. Like 100% at all. So I don't know why as Christians, like we're going to do that. And there are times when we need to have conversations with people about hot topics, but we did talk about they don't need to be on social media. They absolutely should be one-on-one, and we should be coming with an open mindset to learn from the other person. Like, why did you land on this perspective? And I had a friend one time come to me and they were pretty against like two-piece swimsuits for themselves or herself and their girls. And she came to me and said, I would like to hear your perspective on how you landed on like two-piece swimsuits. And I asked the question, like, are you struggling with judging me and you're just trying to figure out? And she goes, no, our girls are getting really, really legalistic. And we're thinking maybe we need to not make this a rule in our house and help them not be legalistic. So then help me understand your heart and your mindset in the matter. And I love that she was willing to ask me. I'm glad that I got it out right off the bat that she's not here to judge me. Like she might have been, like she could have been, I should say, but she wasn't. And you know, it wasn't a hot topic per se, but it's definitely something that they had a strong stance on for a long time.
Well, I mean, the reality is anything could be a hot topic if one person lives one way extreme and one person, it doesn't have to be political. It doesn't have to be religious, quote unquote. It just is very differencing of opinions.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, we talked about that. We talked about, do we really view God as holy? And that was the one, if you remember, where I had preached on at church. We were going through the Lord's Prayer, and it was, our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And I took apart the word hallowed and what it means. And then we just like brush over that word, but breaking it down and like, what does it mean? And who is God and why is he to be revered? And like, how do we look at him versus how we should look at him? And
I like that one.
Yeah, I did too. Then we were with Dad. You remember the one we did with Dad?
No. I don't have the list in front of me. I don't have it. I should have talking with Dad.
I would screenshot it and send it to you right now, but you don't have your reading glasses and you won't be able to read it.
I might be able to.
Oh, really?
Give it a try.
Let's give it a try. Yeah, because last year when we did this, you had the list as well. But this year you've been notoriously terrible at looking at our notes.
I kind of forgot about notes. I just remembered right now.
What I love is that you were about to get defensive, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's exactly true.
Oh, no, I wasn't going to be defensive.
I thought you were like, that's not true. Like, oh. And then you were like, wait a minute.
I was
like,
going
to say have the same notes I have.
I was going to say, I am not sure I could read this. It's what I was going to say. And then I was like, you're right. Okay.
The one with Dad.
Let's read the Gospels.
Well done, Melissa.
I wrote down about reading glasses, guys.
Yeah. That was such a good episode.
Yeah.
Our dad listens to us every single week, and he said that was his favorite episode. He did, but he was joking, we think.
I don't think he was.
Hello, Dad. It was so good. If you guys have not listened to that, in all honesty, it is the one I would say go back and listen to it. It's life-changing. The way that he walks us through why we read the Gospels and the importance of the Gospels and submerging ourselves in the Gospels. Well, he uses the word immersing ourselves, which is different than submerging. Submerging is like underwater.
And immersing is also underwater?
No.
Okay.
Let's define immersing. Immerse. Dip or submerge in a liquid. Wait. The second one says involve oneself deeply in a particular activity or interest. But I think submerge. Let's do it. Let's look it up.
I think it's when you do it to someone else.
No, submerge is literally like water-based. So
These seem like the same things to me.
Well, immersing is like I'm all in. Like Elon is immersed with baseball and hockey. Like Bill is immersed with his stupid reels on Instagram. That man loves reels, and they are not funny.
And he says, you guys, he's like, just watch this one. You're going to love this one. I'm like, I'm not, because I didn't like the last 27 million you sent me. No, this one you're going to love. And he shows
and then she walks away, stone faced.
And I go, it's not funny. And he's like, what? Why do you think it's funny? I'm like,
oh, he sent some of the ones he sends me are funny, but I would say it's about 1 out of 10.
Well, some of them are funny, but he doesn't. They're funnier when he's not explaining to me as I watch them. I'm like, stop explaining. I'm not an idiot. I can watch and understand. I hate watching any kind of movie he's ever seen because he explains the whole movie to me. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm leaving. He's like, no, I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet.
He will not.
Yeah, quiet.
So anyways, go back and read that one or listen to that one. I keep saying read. That's weird. It's because I'm reading a list.
This is weird.
What was the next one? This was kind of one you led us through.
Start saying compliments out loud.
Mm-hmm.
I let it. It must have been amazing.
She gets that from her dad.
I do. Also our mom.
Are you going to talk any more about it?
Oh, you should say thoughts in your head that are compliments out loud. That's kind of what it came down to.
You should say thoughts in your head that are compliments out loud.
Don't see that.
That sounds so stupid. Dabble, dabble, do. Could you restate that, please? She can't stop laughing. You sounded so stupid.
I know. So when you said it back to me.
What were you saying?
Well, I think what I meant to say is if you have thoughts in your head
about other people, nice things.
They're nice. I should say them out loud.
Yes.
Why am I so crying?
Oh my gosh.
Nobody likes to listen to this. I don't know why I'm laughing so hard.
Oh, it is true. So we talked about how encouraging our minds can be about people. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a cute shirt, or she's really good at that. But then we don't say it out loud. Yeah. And we're like, why? Why do we not say it out loud? Like it can change someone's whole day or week or perspective of themselves if we say the nice, encouraging things out loud that we're thinking in our heads.
Yes, that right there.
So, next one.
Am I saying them now?
This one harms you too.
We talked about doing hard things, even if we're doing it afraid.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah,
do hard things, do it afraid.
Well, also, and you shared the example of joining a new church and going to a women's retreat, and you said you paid cash versus the deposit. You paid cash for full versus the deposit because you paid it full because you knew it would force you to go because you didn't want to lose the money. But if you only paid like the $20 deposit or whatever, you might back out.
I take it out. Mm-hmm. Money saves people.
And it changed everything. Going and meeting women on that kind of a level and in that kind of a context, it elevates and deepens everything in relationships. Yeah.
Yep. So true. Yeah.
I did one all by myself. All by myself. That's how I felt.
All by yourself?
Yes, that's how I started the podcast.
Why did you do it alone?
I think I'm alone now.
That's what my husband sings to you.
Yes. Would you like to explain?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So Bill and my husband, Rachel was 12 when Bill and I started dating. So she was immediately his little sister. He didn't have a sister. Mm-hmm. He was so excited to have a sister. And so she is just like, he just adores her. And like when we were younger and we had little kids, and if I was at I don't know where I'd be, but they would go shopping with my kids, and they just spend time together.
Mm-hmm. Well, and when our cousin and I were like 12, 13, we like mooned him once on accident or purpose. I can't remember. I don't remember. And he's always talked about my pimply white butt ever since then. I'm 42 years old. Rachel and her pimply white butt. Remember when Rachel and Mary showed me their pimply white butts? And it's like, he literally is like a big brother to me.
Yeah. And he's just weird. He's weird. Bill's weird. If you know him,
so weird.
You get it. And if you don't know him, I don't know how to explain him to you.
You cannot explain him.
No, I adore him. But he also does kissy faces at her a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that a lot of women are like, oh my god,
they're ugly. They're so ugly. They're
not cute. Yeah. Why? I don't know. And I'm not threatened by this. I just need this to be very clear. Bill is not attracted to my sister. Like he literally. She is his sister, and so he just like picks on her like a big brother. And so if you're hearing any of this and you're worried, there's no worry.
No,
and if you spent 10 minutes with him, you'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, nothing. But one time we were at a recital for my daughter, a ballet recital this was a long time ago, and we had 2 rows saved because we had a whole lot of family coming. But at one point, nobody was sitting in the rows except for Rachel and Bill, and he looks at her. And he leans over and he starts singing, I think we're alone now.
Oh my gosh, he's so funny. He really is only like that specific kind of weirdness to me.
Yes. Oh yeah.
He goes around, he's not like that to other people. It's like, he's like, you're my little sister, literally. I was 12.
It's true. She was 12 and he was 21. And so he was a big brother.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did that episode alone. Be careful what you carry into 2025. The reason was you had just started your job and you were not able to do it. And I needed them done or else we were not going to have podcasts. So Mom did the next one with me, which was seeing the gift in painful relationships, which as I was editing it, I thought, did we already do this? Like basically same one? Because she talked about her difficult relationship with grandma, her mother-in-law.
Oh yeah.
And but God used that to refine her and like teach her how to like honor and love her. And then they had this beautiful relationship in the end. And after I was editing it, I was like, did we already do this one? What I think happened was she shared that story in the context of another episode.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
So I talked about, it was only like a 15-minute one. Be careful what you carry into 2025. And I had a couple of really unhealthy relationships last year end. And as it turned out, everyone around me could see how unhealthy they were, but I didn't see it. And it bothered me how unaware I was until they were over. And I was like, wow, I have all this unhealthiness that has left me.
Yeah.
And I didn't talk about that on that episode at all.
Yeah.
But what I talked about is like being really careful. Like we started a new year and being really careful. What God has worked so hard to free you from, don't carry with you. Yes. Like the Israelites, they were freed from slavery and then they went into the desert and it's like, you can just take that bondage with you. Like God can just take you across the Red Sea and into the desert and have a new plan for you. And you could just take that enslaved mentality with you. And I was like, I don't want that. And I know other people need to be encouraged. Like we've got some things God has done in our lives. Let's not take them with us.
Yeah.
So that was that episode.
I like it.
And then of course the one with Mom, seeing the gift in painful relationships. All right. The next one, Miss, you want to talk about, we did that in a 2-part.
Tips for healthy relationships through the lens of parenting. You want me to remind us what we talked about?
Well, do you not remember?
Well, we gave tips on having healthy relationships, and we used the lens of parenting.
Oh my gosh!
I don't remember. You have to remember. I don't edit these. I don't re-listen to them multiple times. You do, so they sink into your brain.
Yes. I don't. Mm-hmm. I also write the notes for them and read the notes. So there's many times it has come across my brain.
Yes. I don't write them, and I apparently forgot that we have notes this year. Okay, in my defense, I actually don't use the notes a lot because so notes are hard for me in general because I can get very stuck on them and trying to say them the way that they're written instead of just being more organic and going. And I have just found that just talking with Rachel is better for me. I don't get in my head if I
and I have notes to walk us through like what are we going to talk about this topic, so then you just can come along. In fact, I just heard I met a man who is faculty at a seminary, and I was looking into the seminary for possibly after my master's, and he told me he is on the teaching team at his church, and there's a woman who's on it with him, and they co-teach, so they are on stage together.
Huh.
Most of the time, of course, if the one person can't be there. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is like you and I. In fact, I have to prepare way more for a sermon than I ever do for this, because we dialogue and we converse, and you have your own set of experiences and biblical knowledge and background, and I have mine, of course. And I was like, that is a cool concept. Now, I don't know that Scott would be interested in it because it could be tricky, but I was like, I need to reach out to him. Scott's my pastor, sorry. I need to reach out to this guy and say, could you send me a link to your clips? Like, I would like to watch these and like see how they go. Because I have always thought it would be so cool if you and I were like invited to speak at conferences in the in the context of our podcast. Exactly.
I would prepare more for that.
I would just hope so.
I'm just letting you know.
But you wouldn't even need to, because I still think we have great episodes.
Yeah.
And we show people exactly who we are.
I'm not as dumb as I come across, by the way.
You don't come across dumb. You come across prepared.
Only because I say it regularly.
I know, it's true. I do remember one time you said, like, I just feel like sometimes you're the only one reading the scripture. And I was like, but you need to either read it or bring it. And you're like, oh, I guess I can do that. Yeah. It's like, there's notes. Anyway. Okay, so that one, I had actually done a sermon on parenting. And people were like, oh my gosh, that was so good, so good. Like, people like compliment me on how I've done in my sermons. This is the one that people were like, this is the kind of stuff that will change your life. We've never talked about parenting really from the stage of our church in the entire, I mean, I've been there since 2020. And so it was, I had a one-off. It was like literally the last Sunday of the December. And so it was like, well, we're not going to start a new series because it's Christmas break and a lot of people gone or whatever. But so many people came back to me and were like, oh my gosh, I started doing this and it's changing everything. And they started being convicted. What'd you say?
Is this the one where you said, I'm going to talk about parenting, but don't dismiss me if you're not a parent?
Yes.
Like, or if you're past it?
And we started our podcast with that. Like, if you're done parenting or you don't even have kids, this can apply to relationships. And I had a woman who loves me and told our pastor Scott that was like, well, I love Rachel, but as soon as I heard it was about parenting, I started checking out. And then she got me when she said, but don't check out if you're past that stage. And she was like, oh my gosh, there's so many things I learned from that, that sermon. Yeah. So we just talked about having healthy relationships, but we use the lens of parenting. Yeah. We talked about being like consistent and reliable and someone people can count on. So
yeah. That was a good one.
Then we did one on when our flesh flares up, like when our pride is pricked and we're like, it, but sometimes you don't do the work of bringing it to God and being like, I don't want to be like this. And then we react out of our pride. Yeah. I actually remember that one probably the least. I don't remember specific details beyond that. And you were no good.
Well, I don't. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't remember.
Then we did how to talk to people about Jesus. And that one I loved because I had said, I think people have a hard time knowing how to talk to people about Jesus. And you were like, I really don't have a hard time. Like, and then you walked us through why you don't have a hard time. And you're like, I don't know. He's just such a part of my life.
I talk about him the way I talk about everything.
Yeah. And you're like, it's not like I'm preaching at people or even reciting Bible scripture. You're just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I talk about God. I talk about prayer. I talk about how, my faith. And so I liked that episode a lot. I felt like you brought a lot to that one.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Not that you don't bring a lot to all of them. Did you just high five yourself? Did you just? No one's there to high five you, so you got to do it. There's nobody here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then the last 4 that we did.
I can't read those.
No. I'm out. How to be someone who shows up for others. Mm-hmm. And then in reverse, like people then show up for you. How to be someone people show up for. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about how do we know what's biblical? Because sometimes the Bible will say something, but maybe it seems like, but maybe God's character is this thing. And we just talked about how it's really important not to take a verse out of context and just assume we understand what is biblical. Yeah. And then we just did the one on healthy mindset with exercise, which I thought was really good. And
it was fun to recap. Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Well, the reason I like that one a lot is because I think it's easy to, it's easy to compartmentalize life in general. And I think that exercise could be one of those things that we're like, well, that has nothing to do with God. And it has nothing to do with my relationship with God. And we don't agree with that.
We do not. If you didn't listen, you should. And then the last one we did was just last week, or 2 weeks ago, and it was be careful with saying God told me.
Oh yeah,
God told me to tell you. God told me this. Did you?
I was like, what did we just do?
To be clear, it was like 4 minutes before we started this one.
Okay, in my defense, I worked this morning and I am tired.
I love how you always have a defense.
I always have a defense.
We should do one next year on be careful about being defensive.
Well, I'm not defensive.
No, you're not.
I just have a reason. And I was really.
Oh my gosh, it was so funny. And that one was good. If you guys didn't listen, I think you should. It's a tricky concept because we're basically like, be careful just telling people God told me this, but also listen to God because he does tell you. He does speak to us and he does tell us to tell other people things. But also, like, we shouldn't be like eager little beavers to like deliver hard news. I do have an example of someone in my life who was an eager little beaver and lots of pride wrapped up in that message.
Yes. No eager beavers here. Okay.
So that was that. That was this season.
Yes.
What I'd like to talk about for next season is, last year we did the whole, like, what did we learn and, like, what do we hope to learn next year? I feel like, what time are we at? Does your thing tell you?
26.
So I feel like we should probably wrap it up. But I got to be honest, you guys, just a couple of episodes ago, I was unsure if we would do a season 4. And that was really hard for me. I actually realizing I don't know how much I even talked about this with you, Melissa, but it was hard for me because I was like, I don't want to just close the doors, but they're not easy to reopen to like everything we pay for, like the website and the uploading and all that. And then to have to close it all down, but then come back and redo it maybe in a year. And honestly, just to get out of the groove of it. And then, I didn't want to close it down without being certain that was the right step for both of us. But I mean, I was specifically talking about myself. And, I'm on staff in my church. I'm on my preaching team. I'm in seminary. My husband travels 2 weeks out of the month. Everyone's life is busy, but these are big things. And to fit it in is it's one extra thing.
Well, and I mean, in case you guys don't know this, I feel like I say this regularly enough, but in case you don't know, I just show up. Like Rachel, when we started this, that was the agreement. Like, yes, I'm not just like a mooch. Just want to clarify that. Like, but she was like, I want to do this. This is something I want to invest my time and energy into. Can you show up and record with me? And that's been a good fit for me over these last couple of years. And
it's probably the only way you could even have started, let alone continued.
Correct. Yeah. For many reasons. And, and so just so you know, when she's really thinking about it for herself, she's truly is because I mean, not that she wouldn't listen to me, but it ultimately falls on her shoulders. And so.
Well, and if it takes 15 to 20 hours a month to do it, that's still, 3 to 5 hours a week or however that maths out. I think that's about right. Close to that. And so it's like, it's just something that has to be,
processed.
I just had to, and I was praying a lot about it. And one thing I said to Melissa is I said, I'm actually not worried about the work. I enjoy doing the podcast. I enjoy doing the work. I hate coming up with topics. That is the worst part. And like any pastor will tell you, most pastors, I should say, will tell you, coming up with topics or even just what book of the Bible are we going to go through week after week after week.
Ladies, it's like coming up with a new dinner every single night of the week
oh my gosh.
for the rest of your life.
Yes. And also you can't reuse any.
That's what I'm saying. Brand new every night. Never had any go-tos. Always new.
Always new. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. I just high-five myself.
I know. I almost high-five myself for thinking of that.
What the? I was high-fiving myself for all the work.
Yes, me too.
Anyways, and so what I said to Melissa is I said, I feel like, if we do 18, 19 episodes in a season, if we even had 15 planned out coming into another season, I feel like then I could do it. And but she's fresh out. and I'm fresh out. And so I said, maybe we should have like a Zoom call where we invite women to come in. And so my two good friends come and visit me, and they listen to our podcast regularly. And I'm telling them this. This was just like a week and a half ago, literally like a couple days after I tell Melissa this. Mm-hmm. And so I'm telling them, and I'm saying, what do you think about this idea? And they say, well, gosh, like we feel like we wouldn't bring any ideas to the table. Like if we came to the Zoom meeting, the reason we wouldn't is because we wouldn't have any ideas to bring mm-hmm. to the table. I said, well, I don't need people to bring ideas. I need them to brainstorm with us, which is different. Yeah. And as we're talking about this, we start talking about something, and my friend Heather goes, oh, write that down. That would be a great mm-hmm. podcast topic. Mm-hmm. And then another one. And literally, I now have 16 topics.
I love that so much.
And just in a weekend, we were not mm-hmm. diving into the podcast. It was like, as we were conversing, we were like, mm-hmm. oh, that's something that could be, where more mm-hmm. people need to talk about and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited because I really wasn't ready to shut it down, but it was so hard to say yes to another season. And I didn't want to end this one and then just not come back. I wanted to know if we were coming back or not. Right?
Yeah, I get that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so
season finale that leads you to believe that another season's coming, right. and then it's just never anything there. Mm-mm.
Well, we want to end well, I want to do everything with excellence. And I don't think just not coming back without, even if something happened and we had to cancel the podcast, we would still come back and do an episode, just announcing that or whatever. Yeah. But so anyways, I feel really excited. I have all season 4, topics slotted out, and we are always looking for new topics. So please mm-hmm. never hesitate to reach out. Some of them aren't things we feel like we should step into, but mm-hmm. it's at least sometimes we can even get an idea from it.
I was going to say, sometimes even with each other, we'll be like, what about this? Well, no. But then suddenly we're like, oh, but what about this?
Mm-hmm. Something comes out of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, it has been a great season. Thank you for doing this with me, Melissa.
Yes. Thank you for letting me show up and be me.
I truly wouldn't want to do it with anyone else. And I love other people. I love so many other people. But like the dynamic that we have, it is really fun. And it makes it easy to show up and do it with you. And I think you feel the same way. So
100%. Even this, the last 6 months I was adjusting to working full time, and I was like, oh, okay, but I get to just talk to my sister. Like that's the part, because the time can get overwhelming in my brain, like
planning it.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, this is my time off and like mm-hmm. whatever. And it's because I was exhausted. Like when I first started this job, I'm finally just kind of getting out of that where like, okay, I can like do something mm-hmm. on the weekends. And, mm-hmm. But then the thing that helped me not be overwhelmed by it was being like, but I'm just talking to my sister. So
yeah. So, well, thank you guys. And when you start seeing stuff in the fall that we're coming back, share it with your friends. Be like, hey, if you haven't ever listened, like now's the time to start. They're starting a new season or whatever. We would really love that. So
we would. All right. Have a great
summer. Thank you guys.
Bye guys.
You might feel that your life is a mess, but don't feel bad. Ours is too, but we own a microphone and we have no shame. That's why we'll talk about how our life is a mess nonetheless. That's the name of our podcast.